and this is Double Bits Workshop. Today's episode, this will be part 3 of the video series for the Catan board pieces. So right now I have everything cut out for the board. I actually took a little time off camera to finish up cutting all 19 of the little hexagons here, as well as the side perimeter. My good friend Lauren has gone through quite a bit of painstaking effort in making all of those pieces fit just perfectly, and he's actually already revised and has a second version for the next board that I will be creating. So for right now, this is going to be all Gen 1, and I'll kind of play through and refine Gen 2 and kind of play with the laser a little bit more too to see as well some more fun details of that. What I've done so far is I've actually taken a piece of paper, and originally I was just going to make an outline on it, made the laser a little too strong here, and ended up cutting out a hexagon here out of a little graph piece. I do have a little pad here from the Dollar Tree that is a self-healing mat, and I've slid that under and made it to where one side to the other is level up nicely, and then I can take my little hexagons here and put them in the center of this, and then that way when the laser starts going and doing its pattern, it'll actually make the shape perfect, and I can just set one down, load in another one, and just hit go. And I can get all of my cuts, or rather engraves, done right off the bat all at once, which is super nice and handy. So I'm going to lay out each one of the pieces, and I'm going to engrave each of them. So you will have the 5 resources, which is brick, wheat, wool, wood, and ore. And I'm going to actually go and make each one of those images. I'm going to have my wife work on those a little bit here. She volunteered to make a few of those drawings. I'm going to vector them out, and then we're going to come back and have them already on the computer, and we're going to translate 1 or 2 over to the system. Alright, now for the more tedious part. Got everything lined up, got the images in Lightburn. We're trying out the trial period of it. I'm actually really liking the software. Eventually I might look at purchasing it for laser use. There is a simple GRBL code that you can get for it that works off of any of the little Arduino or a couple of different little motherboard setups, to where it's just software sending signals to your unit. If you have a more advanced kind of CO2 laser, or just a lot more high-powered laser, or different brands as such, they also offer sending you a little control board that'll hook into that and act as the in-between between your laser and the computer as well. Those do cost a little bit more, but also you are buying a more high-powered $5,000+ laser, so there's kind of give and take to that to allow the software to work flawlessly with that unit, and the price goes up from there. Luckily, on all of these kind of hobbyist or just enthusiast grade lasers, you're not too concerned with that, which is nice. So you can get away with their basic licensing. It is $60 for the software. That's why we're definitely using the trial period to see if we like it for 30 days before we're taking that leap. But so far it's really intuitive, really easy. You have the settings to allow full customization, or you can lock it down into a more beginner level that gives you just import image, do some basic touch-up, and then hit fire, and your laser will go through basic presets on the easy end. Otherwise you can do full control over it, and there's lots of options. In fact, a mild version of Photoshop basically at your fingertips with the software to allow you to create, render, or vectorize all of your images to allow proper translation through your laser, and it takes away a lot of the kind of pixelation that comes with a lot of other software. So now we're going to try out the first piece and just kind of play with it a little bit and see how well we can get this to laser engrave these bricks. So, the first piece came out awesome. One downfall. So the program, I'm not quite exactly sure why, in Lightburn, went through and made the image perfectly fine, running from the very bottom corner here, back and forth, all the way up, and then it decided to do this little pathing line. Now, of course, this being the first one, I allowed it to just kind of run through. Kind of interesting, kind of odd, didn't quite make sense. Now, the second one came out perfect because I stopped it from doing the pathing. It like quadruples its speed and then just starts running rapid with the laser on. Now, it's fast, so it doesn't do much damage, but enough to make a line that isn't what you originally intended or wanted. So I have been needing to babysit as I've been printing each of the additional pieces, so that way that doesn't happen. Now, you're also probably wondering why I offset the design. The reason being is that you have those tokens to let you know what this piece has associated with it for the dice roll. So if you roll a 6, or a 3, 8, so on and so forth, you'll have a token that you lay on these at random, so that way when the dice hit this resource and whoever's around it get resources from this item. So I left the spacing so that way I didn't upscale this, have it in the dead center, and then you set a token on it, and then you're just kind of understanding off of the perimeter of this image like this. Okay, well yeah, I can tell that's a brick. Like, you can, 3 holes. It makes sense in this drawing, but depending on what you're looking at, if you're trying to be decisive and strategic, it makes it kind of difficult. So I thought I would just put the tokens on the bottom corner. Just something simple. Alright, so now I'm at the part where you've probably seen quite a few time lapses, I have all the parts and components as one. So, here is the first one, which is the brick, turned out awesome. The second resource is the wheat, I think that turned out awesome as well. All of these drawn by my wife. The third is ore. You can kind of see like a shadowy boulder chunk of ore with some little bit of rubble around the bottom of it. So originally these are all supposed to be top corner. Of course, right after I said that, this one, for whatever reason, chose a different home position and just printed, or rather laser engraved lower than all the rest, sadly. So everything else is kind of up-ish. And then the sheep, kind of still down on the bottom there. But I figured I can put the token on the top if need be. So the sheep, or wool, as it's also known as for the resource, came up pretty dope. I was trying to figure out a way when I was talking with her. I was like, now remember, it's all going to be shadow and grayscale. So I was thinking of something, she was thinking of something. This is what she came up with, and I really enjoyed the way it turned out. And then for the desert scene, here is a little cactus, kind of looking like it's having to deal with some wind out in the desert. I think it's adorable, and I love it. Turned out awesome. And then finally, wood, or the tree resource. So the thing that I was having with the software, which is probably a setting in there, it has the ability for your laser to utilize the camera through some lasers to where you can see the project in front of you. This is not that fancy or crazy of a laser, so it might be running off of that, but it still tried to do that pathing on top. And I stopped it at the end, and that's kind of what I was doing, just babysitting and stopping each one of these. So for the resources, I wasn't able to get to all of them before running out of time. Been at this for about 5.5 hours in total, from concept, drawing, converting, going through different software, downloading the trial version of Lightburn, to essentially engraved product in my hand. That has been the whole process for each of these resources. So 5 resources, and then we also have the adorable little cacti hanging out and hanging on in that little breezy, desolate desert. So you only need one of these tiles. So I've got most everything printed, at least in duplicate, except for the desert, of course, since there's only one of those. I have 3 of the brick, and I will finish up the rest of these and keep going. But I think that is everything for right now. Alright, so that is the perimeter and pieces of the game board for good old Settlers of Catan. I am not quite done yet. I still need to finish laser engraving every piece and I will be doing the perimeter. I will probably be doing that in a final part, or basically a part 4. It takes about roughly 20 minutes per piece. So out of the 19 pieces for the main primary game, as well as the additional 6 for the outside perimeter, and I need to also make the outside perimeter ship, and maybe a few little waves and some little docks going off to the sides. So on there, it's pretty much every other piece. So 3 pieces have 2 docks, and 3 pieces only have 1 individual dock. So that is either the 3-to-1 ratio for just any and all pieces, or is the 2-to-1 ratio based on if it is going to be wheat, stone, or I believe wood are your primary 2-to-1s that you could build to and put a settlement on to get. So those will come up in the final part. Right now I'm just jazzed that there is a game board in front of me. Need it be not fully finished, I have all the tiles and everything sanded for the Mark I version. So that being said, because of over sanding and some of the pieces getting a little bit smaller, sadly the hexagons do fit together perfectly, but because of all the additional shrinkage, the outside perimeter is slightly over large. So I will do a pan over of it, but you'll see little bits of gap. This is my first version and rendition of it. I will be making potentially a second rendition as well. If you guys want to see that one when I'm done with that, make sure to leave a comment down below. If I get enough comments, enough people want to see it, I will pump that content out, as well as I will make that. But you may hear a light whir in the background. That's actually the next thing that I will have coming up once I'm done laser engraving this and pump out the final video. You'll be able to see that video. I have content and a new toy to unveil. So more to come on that one. If you like what you saw, if you like what you're seeing, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out greatly. If you want to subscribe to the channel, that helps me out greatly. It gives the ability for you to see it pop up in your feed, the next videos I come up with. If you want to get notifications when those do happen, make sure and hit the notification bell as well. Helps me out, helps you get those notifications. And if you enjoy it, it gives you the ability to have a little bit of enjoyment either at the beginning or end of your day. So thank you all so very much, and have yourself a wonderful evening. Thanks again.